Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to the Future History Project. There's been a bit of a hiatus in this, and I do apologize. The heat has really hit me hard, and allergies, and I've struggled with reading, period, so I've hardly read anything in the last 3 weeks. But I did finish yesterday and today Mirage. This is week 27. This should have been posted on the 8th of July, so I'm 3 weeks behind. But I did finish it today. This is Sunday, and this will be posted on Monday. And it's the 27th week of the Future History Project. And this was pretty interesting. It was a longer one, about as long as the Isaac Asimov Robots of Dawn book. And it carried on the characters of Derek and Ariel from the Robot City 8 books. Robot City and Robots and Aliens. This takes up their story. It's hard to say, but it's many years later. They had split up. Derek they're both on Earth. Derek is in charge of a robotics company trying to sort of get positronic robots in some form, either in computer form, on Earth. And he has tinkered with the 3 laws by allowing a robot to prioritize what or who gets saved, and to be a bodyguard robot. Bogard. Very inventive. And Ariel is sort of on a trade mission from Aurora that are trying to get robots also onto Earth, and open up trade and talks with Earth. However, there is a it starts out with a sort of clandestine group that is making a lot of money, a killing, in other words, off of black market and smuggling. And it's a bit, well, I think it's partially me, because I've taken so long to read this that I think I lost some threads throughout this. But it's a mystery, because there's murders, there's deaths, and there was a conference that was being set up with ambassadors from Aurora and other space or worlds, as well as a senator from Earth, and it gets hit by terrorists. And Bogard was assigned to protect this specific senator, but he apparently was killed. Bogard malfunctioned, while the whole sort of resident intelligence, the computer that was overseeing everything, malfunctioned in an odd way. And so Derek and his company had to put this in place. So he's trying to investigate this. Bogard is on the verge of almost collapse, because he failed in his primary duty to save the senator. But a security guard, Mia, sort of it gets his attention on saving her, and she gets injured and taken to hospital, and they catch 3 of the bad guys. But it's chaos, and it's done by this terrorist group, and it's interesting. They call it Order for the Supremacy of Mannequin, or just Mannequins, they're called. And it harkens back to Susan Calvin days, where there were a number of groups that were against robots. So it's no different thousands of years in the future. And there's still fear of robots, but this is a time where there are new settlers going off of Earth and settling worlds. And Susan Calvin is sort of, excuse me, all but forgotten on Earth. But there is a Calvin Institute, which I thought was quite nice on Aurora, and it seems that Ariel had taken a PhD in robotics, so she has furthered her education. But as I say, Derek and her had split up by this point, and they're a bit adversarial a little bit. Like the characters were good. I thought it was. They were well fleshed out. They were believable because of their separation at some point in the past. It didn't really. Well, the explanation is because Derek's daring to tamper with the 3 laws of robotics, but I think there's more to than that, and I'm sure it'll get fleshed out in the other books. I won't, there is this mystery to solve, who did this, and tracking down the bad guys, and there's internal rot in the government and in the secret services. The Terran TBI, Terran Bureau of Investigations, which we saw actually in Isaac Asimov's Nemesis. And then occasionally they're throwing in some of the stories that are apocryphal, that are in the robot stories, or they're mythological. That's been happening throughout a lot of this material. Well, not a lot of it, but it's occasionally hearkening back to it. And I won't say what the conclusion is, but it just the bad guys are caught, but they're not caught. Let's just put it that way. There's still a menace there, but the trade relations with Earth and the spacer worlds is severely damaged, regardless of what Ariel and Derek were able to do. And like I say, it was pretty good, but I don't know if it was fully me taking so long to read this at snippets, chapter here, chapter there, until the last couple days, because I only had about 150 pages, I guess, done of 450 up until Friday, and so Friday I read, Thursday or Friday together I might have read about 100, and then I read 150 in the last couple days, which I should have just been able to do in just one day, but it's I just my brain's mush in this heat, and it was really, really hot earlier in the week. It went up to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, over 40 degrees Celsius, and constant noise as well. But yeah, it just seems that it's a little padded. I thought it was slow, very slow in places. Like I say, it's 450 pages long. I think it would have worked better at a novel under 300, somewhere 280 to 300. It would have clipped along a lot better, and I think it would have worked better. But it's not bad. It was enjoyable because I liked what he did with the characters and introducing new characters. And they're back on Earth, and you're seeing things that are sort of familiar yet unfamiliar at times, because the only other time they've shown Earth at this period was in one of the Robots City novels, where Derek and Ariel sort of wind up with the perihelion device on Earth, and that was pretty close to, say, Caves of Steel in many ways, but this seems a little different. I didn't quite get the claustrophobic aspect of the caves the city feel, despite people being claustrophobic. Not claustrophobic, claustrophilia, I guess it is, yeah. That loving the feeling of enclosed spaces. And then they are outside at times. But yeah, I think it fell a little flat with describing Earth. Like, there were some things that worked and some that didn't. But all in all, as I say, it was a good book, and I'm looking forward to. I'll start today or this evening. Chimera, the second. I think it's the second one. Pretty sure it's the second one. I think it's this one. It's the second book. It's the same length. It's by Mark Tiedemann as well. And yeah, it's 450 pages. So I'm going to try to get plowed through these, because and this one here, Aurora, should have been finished on Thursday. I should have finished this on Thursday, but I'm behind. So hopefully I can get caught up this week, and then the book after is a very short book. So I'm hoping in the next couple weeks I can get caught up back up on the schedule. But there's no sort of hurry. We have a little bit of leeway at the end of the year for this, but I do want to carry on a few things myself, and I'll be talking about that later. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to look at, which I'm not quite getting to. I've got to continue with Isaac Asimov's biography, because we left it off at about 1980. And there's still another book I need to read for that. But I have a lot of secondary material too that I wanted to look at, which I may or may not get to immediately. But I think these are things that I'll carry on after the project is ended, on a slow burn process, I think. Because I do want to be sort of a completist in the sense of looking at all this stuff and not never going into huge depth of things, but it's just because it's not really possible on like a 20 minute or even a half an hour video. It's you can only skim the surface of things. But yeah, he's a competent writer. It's a lot better than a lot of the other books, like definitely better than the Robots in Time series, a lot better than the Susan Calvin trilogy, a lot better than most of the Robot Cities and Robots and Aliens. So I'm actually looking forward to reading this for this one, and I'll try to get this done as soon as possible so I can get caught up. And if you are still, plugging along with us here, do let me know what you thought of Mirage. And if you're starting to read this one, no spoilers. I usually don't mind spoilers, but this is a mystery, so I don't want to go into too much detail. And so I'm assuming this is another mystery, but the Mirage was. So yeah. And I hope you're keeping cool as much as possible. I have to have a fan on high speed, hence the noise here. And it's just, yeah, it's not fun, that's for sure. Take care, BookTube. I'll see you next time.